It's the finally Friday edition of Weather for Weather Geeks. Again, I'm battling a cold today, so I apologize if my voice is a little different than usual. I wanted to start out talking about the freezing drizzle we had last night. I will admit I was a little too slow to catch on to this last night. Uh, I just figured on a few flurries, and while we did start to alert our social media followers around 9, 10 o'clock last evening, and I certainly talked about it on 21 News at 11. If you stopped paying attention to the weather and didn't watch the late news last night, you might have been thrown off a little bit by this, waking up this morning and your car is encased in a little bit of ice. Uh, Freezing drizzle is tough. It is sometimes really tough to predict more than a couple of hours ahead of time. But there were some clues that were missed yesterday. One thing we look at as meteorologists, atmospheric soundings. Uh, when you hear of weather balloons being put up at the National Weather Service, that's taking a sounding, a measure of what the atmosphere is doing the whole way up. The wind, the pressure, the humidity, temperatures, et cetera, et cetera. Uh, this is a model sounding, so in other words, this isn't directly taken from a weather balloon, but this is what a computer model thought a sounding would look like last evening for the Youngstown area. The red line, that's the temperature. The green line is the dew point. And if you're a little new to these, I won't get too crazy in depth here, but we live down here at the bottom of the graph. This is the surface of the Earth down here. And up here at the top, that's at, about 40,000 feet or so in the air, 50,000 feet. So we are paying most attention to where the weather happens, and that's mostly down in this zone. When the green and red lines are close together, that means the temperature and the dew point is close together, and that usually means that the humidity is really high and there's a lot of moisture in the air. The area I've highlighted in yellow here is the area between -10 and -20 degrees Celsius. That's the zone in which ice crystals form most efficiently. They can form at warmer temperatures, but they form most efficiently at 10 to 20 below 0 Celsius. When I say ice crystals, we're talking about snowflakes, in other words. Well, all of the moisture last evening, where the lines are close together here, that was actually below uh, that layer of air that would be best for snowflakes to form. And so everything stayed in liquid form, even though the temperature was below freezing. This is called super cooled raindrops. And again, I could go on for a long time about what that means, but basically what this can happen sometimes, where the entire atmosphere above our heads is below freezing, but the precipitation still falls in a liquid form. It all depends on the moisture profile of the atmosphere as you go up. As related to the temperatures, we had the freezing drizzle that kicked off last evening. The roads were a mess. We had some accidents, a couple serious accidents, unfortunately. And I caught onto this, not fast enough. So I apologize if your plans were inconvenienced as a result. So that was last night. We're done with that today. It's shockingly another pretty cloudy day, although I did see a few peaks of sun on my way into work this afternoon as some of the overcast deck is starting to break a little bit from Youngstown on north. So especially if you live north of Youngstown, north of I-80 even, you're going to see some appreciable breaks of sun, I think, before the end of the day. While the farther south and west you are, it appears the less likely that is. Here's kind of a cool feature, what's called a dry eddy. A little curly Q in the clouds out here, moving through western Ohio and parts of Indiana. That's kind of a neat little feature. Well, of course, it's cold out today. Temperatures early this afternoon in the 2 o'clock hour. It is, let's stop the loop. It is currently 31 in Youngstown, 31 in Newcastle, and 31, 32 over towards Akron, Canton. What you see is what you get. We might rise a degree or two. That will about do it. All right. Well, a few days ago, we were concerned about potential weekend nuisance storm. That storm is down here across the Gulf Coast region right now. Earlier in the week, it looked like it would bend far enough north to bring us some light snows Saturday night. Not going to happen now. There's too much west wind aloft. It's going to steer it right out to sea. And so this is a miss for us. Our weekend will be tranquil, uneventful. I think tomorrow is still a fairly cloudy day, but I think Sunday is actually one of the more decent days we've had recently. There should be some appreciable amounts of sunshine Sunday, and temperatures will get into the upper 30s, which all of a sudden sounds pretty warm. But we do want to focus, of course, on what's going to happen as we get closer to Christmas. So let's take off the current radar. I'm going to bring up the latest GFS model here. Hopefully it will load. I notice my internet is starting to slow down, naturally. Let's bring up the 500 millibar heights and what we call vorticity or spin. We're going to take a look at the mid-levels of the atmosphere and see how the pattern will evolve as we head through the weekend and into next week, because it's interesting to see how this is going to kind of all transpire. This is going to be a whopper of a storm that's going to form across the eastern part of the country. I'm going to skip ahead to Tuesday. This is Tuesday morning, the 23rd. Again, what we're looking at here is about 18,000 feet above our heads. The colors on here, the brighter the colors, the more spinning or vorticity that's going on. And so you can see there's a trough forming here in the middle of the country, actually a ridge axis on the east coast or just east of the eastern seaboard. But as we go through time, here's Tuesday morning. Let's skip ahead to Wednesday morning, Christmas Eve morning. And you're going to see this trough really sharpening up across the Ohio Valley and into the Great Lakes. Look, now we have a closed contour up here at 500 millibars. Big, deep trough now carving out across the east. And while this is at 18,000 feet, this has implications down here at the surface. Typically, when you look at these upper level charts, east of the upper level low, that's where the surface low pressure is. And of course, that's what we care most about, is what's going on at the surface. But I did want to show you how impressive this is in the upper levels. And then by Christmas morning, boy, this thing is just bombing out. Let's actually back up to Christmas morning here. This is really, it's coming together too late to produce some sort of blizzard or something for us. But this is a whopper of a storm over the northern Great Lakes. And, there's going to be a ton of wind with this. Let's take a look at the wind field on the GFS here, down here at the surface. 10-meter wind. I have the surface pressures plotted up here. And let's look at the wind. This is Christmas morning. If you got a kite for Christmas, you're in luck. As usual in these kind of westerly flow situations, western Ohio will be a little windier than eastern Ohio. But still, these are sustained winds, and we're talking 30 to maybe 40 miles per hour sustained winds out here. Whereas I think sustained winds around Youngstown will be in the 15 to 25 range, and I do think there'll be some gusts that get up to 40 or so. If I show you the winds up at about 5,000 feet here, this is the level in which we're going to try to mix the air down from. And this magenta color here, we're talking 45 to 60 miles per hour blowing above our heads at about 5,000 feet. And some of that will try to get down to the surface. So a 40 to 45 mile per hour gust, I think, will be pretty common on Christmas Day. So if you have outdoor decorations, make sure they're tied down. I don't think this will be the kind of wind that necessarily causes, tree limbs to fall, at least in a widespread fashion. I guess I wouldn't be shocked if we had a few minor problems with power outages as a result of a few limbs coming down on Christmas Day. Now, in terms of the precipitation, that's the big question. Hey, is it going to be a white Christmas? All right, let's look at this. We're going to start on Tuesday, based on the GFS model here. Tuesday, it's just rain. A mild rain. The wind's starting to pick up. This is Tuesday evening. Let's skip ahead to Christmas Eve then. I apologize, my mouse is moving around on me here. Christmas Eve, during the day, let's stop right here at 1 p.m. This is when I suspect we're going to be seeing a transition from rain over to snow. At 1 p.m., early afternoonish, late morning, early afternoon. Here's the rain-snow line right here. The wind is really picking up where it's snowing back here across Illinois, Indiana. And, of course, everything is moving off to the east. So the first thing we'll see Christmas Eve day is rain. But then at some point, probably in the afternoon, early afternoon perhaps, we're going to see a transition over to snow flurries and snow showers. The wind is going to start to pick up. Temperatures are going to start to drop. It's not going to drop super quickly, so I'm not super concerned about any sort of rapid freeze or flash freeze. The cold air is going to bleed in slowly enough that, even into the evening, Christmas Eve, we should probably still be above freezing, maybe 33, 34. But still, with these snow showers pushing in and a gusty wind, there's going to be some slick spots, especially in open areas where the snow can blow across the road. So if you're going to be traveling Christmas Eve in the evening into the overnight, be a little bit careful. This is going to be a ton of snow, but it could be enough to cause some slick spots. All right, Christmas morning as you get up, and hopefully you're enjoying your time with your family. It's going to be snowing. There's going to be snow showers around. We're not looking at much lake enhancement locally. Up in Erie and Buffalo, though, the lake will certainly play a role in this. But around our viewing area, this will be pretty standard issue snow shower activity. And does someone get an inch or so out of this? I think that's a possibility. But again, we're not looking at a lot of snow accumulation necessarily. Nobody's going to get a half a foot, it looks like here. Just a ton of wind for Christmas Day. And then as people head back to the stores the day after Christmas, next Friday, maybe do a little returning and spending of gift cards and that sort of thing. Looks like a quieter day. This is Friday morning, the 26th. Maybe there's a flurry in the morning. That should about do it. So posted this on social media this morning. Chance of seeing snow Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, about 100%. chance of an inch of snow accumulating and making it an official white Christmas. In most of our viewing area, I would put that at about 40% right now. I don't want to go much higher than that because I'm not real convinced that widespread 1 inch accumulations are going to occur, but 40% chance that some backyards get an inch worth of fluffy snow blowing around on Christmas Day. Real quick, just to look at the long range, it looks cold. This is from the 29th through the 3rd, so right around the last few days of the year and heading into 2015. Return to the November pattern. How long does this stick into January? That's still up for debate, so we'll talk about that more after Christmas. All right, I'll see you on Monday. Have yourself a great weekend before Christmas. Stay safe out there, and I look forward to seeing you tonight on 21 News at 6 and 11.